And welcome back. Well, according to a recent Fidelity Investments study, many parents and their adult children are finding it tough to talk about finances and the future. Executive Vice President of Personal Investing at Fidelity, John Sweeney, is here with some common misperceptions around how prepared families are for retirement. Good morning to you, John.
Hi, Tiffany.
Thanks for joining us. I think it's important to have this conversation about why families aren't really sitting down to talk about retirement plans for their older parents. Why is that?
Well, finances are certainly something that we've been taught to keep to ourselves. Don't talk to people about how much you make or how much you're worth. So it's not surprising that people are finding it challenging to share a personal item like finances with even someone like their adult children. When you add things like health care and long-term care issues and end-of-life issues, it becomes very emotionally charged. So it's not surprising to us that families are finding this a difficult topic to bring up with each other.
Yeah, it's kind of a role reversal when you try and talk to your parents about those things, you know, versus them teaching you or talking to you. So I think it's this weird sort of breach, you know, that happens. What did you find in the study that was done from Family and Finance?
So you're right. We looked at the disconnect between expectations among the different generations. So, for example, in retirement, we found that 93% of aging parents wanted to remain independent. They did not want to rely upon their adult children for financial support. However, almost a quarter of adult children expected that they would be subsidizing their parents' retirement in some way. When you bring that to long-term care, some kind of assistance as people age, almost 3/4 of aging parents expected they were going to have to rely upon one of their adult children, most frequently the eldest child and most frequently the eldest daughter. They had an expectation that that child was going to provide some kind of help. That eldest child didn't know that that expectation was held by their parents in most cases. So you really want to have these conversations to avoid any of that misconception or that disconnect between the generations.
So we're putting them off is the bottom line, and that's one thing that we need to stop doing. But when talking about having these conversations about wills, estate planning, caregiving, managing of finances, how can we sort of make that connection happen?
Yeah, so it's really important to tackle it in a couple of different ways. One, think about retirement. So if your parents are approaching retirement, you want to say, hey, Mom, Dad, can I do anything to help make sure that you are well situated and you can actually succeed in retirement? That may mean changing their living situation. Do they really need that big house in the suburbs, or can they downsize into a smaller apartment or condominium where they don't have as high maintenance costs? Do they want to move to a different part of the country where perhaps the weather's warmer, or they've just got different real estate needs? You want to talk about all those expectations. Then when you get into care, are you expecting that you're going to actually want to live with us? And do I need to make room in my home to care for an aging parent? That's a really important conversation to have. And then certainly when you get to end-of-life issues, you want to make sure that the wishes and needs of your aging parents are met. And you have to ask them while they're alive. You don't want to be having this conversation in the emergency room of a hospital when there's a health event, or certainly after they've passed away. There's no opportunity to get their input. So have this conversation today when you can do it when there's no medical emergency in front of you.
Such great advice. It's just so difficult to do because when you bring it up and you start to talk about it, you feel like you're assuming that they're nearing the end of life, and that's a tough topic to, you know, bring up. Are there other misconceptions when talking about families and parents, aging parents, besides some of the discrepancies you mentioned?
Well, certainly when you talk about end-of-life issues, there's an expectation that people have that their adult children will be the executors of their will. However, they haven't identified that adult child, and they haven't told that adult child, this is my expectation of you. I want you to actually be the executor of my estate. And so it's important, if you're the executor of the estate, ask Mom or Dad some questions and say, you know, what are your wishes? How do you want your assets divided up? Because really what you want is you want those adult children to have a great relationship after you've passed away. You want all of them to be able to continue to have Thanksgiving dinner together, and you don't want your will to be a situation that creates anxiety for that next generation.
It's true. Those emotions with death or passing can create some conflict. So to ease that out up front and really have those conversations really can preserve the family, as you mentioned. Where's a good place to go for more information?
So you can start with our branch in Milwaukee. If you have difficulty bringing this topic up, go to the branch and say, hey, I need to bring this topic up with my aging parents. Or if you are an aging parent, bring it up with my adult children. We also have information available on the website at fidelity.com/families, where you get more information on this particular survey.
John, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Stephanie.
And there's that website again, fidelity.com/families.